Hello, Tom. What's going on?
Hey Bart, how you doing?
Nice last name, Tom.
Thank you. You too.
Are you Swedish too?
Yes.
Okay.
My grandfather came from Sweden.
So did mine. So did mine. Gothenburg, fourth generation. Gothenburg, the second largest city in Sweden, I believe. Okay. So you got a hand for us, Tom?
I do. It's a 5-5 home game.
Okay.
We're 10-handed. It's
10-handed.
they
My
do it.
God. Ugh. I hope you have a big table.
Yeah, they do a 75% match the stack up to
Okay.
2K.
Okay. Uh huh.
The stacks are all big. I have the smallest stack at the table. I'm 1050 effective on the button.
Okay. Where's this played out of, by the way? You can just tell me like general location, state, or something.
In Massachusetts. I live in Rhode Island. It's just over the border.
You know that I live in Massachusetts now, right?
I do.
And also, I heard that Twin River just opened up this week.
I'm actually here playing right now. I'm in the parking
Oh,
lot. I
did
came out to do the call, and then
did
I'm going back in.
did they renovate it out? Like, so because it's been closed for 3 years, right? Since COVID,
It's exactly the same room.
which I heard
Actually,
was a
right now,
dump.
all they're running is 2-5. There's 5 2-5 games in there right now. 5 tables. That's all they have right now.
75% match or what?
No. Not this. Isn't this hand isn't from
Okay.
Twin River? My hand is from a home game.
What's Twin River's
But
cap at 2.5?
yeah, they're 800, 2 to 800
All right. I
there.
mean, it's not okay. All right, cool. Well, it's
And then
good to
they
know.
have a 510 they run, but it's up to 2,500, but it's not running today. Those are the only two things. They've been open since Friday.
Yeah, Twin River is in Rhode Island, so now we've got got Encore, Boston, you got all the clubs in New Hampshire, you got Springfield, right? MGM, and then Twin River, and then Connecticut too. So not a bad scene in New England. All right, so we are in a home game though at 5-5-10, 75% match, 1,050 effective on the button.
So under the gun limps,
Okay.
middle position limps, I
Okay.
limp, and both blinds check.
You said you're on the button, right?
I am.
And what do you have?
Three of diamonds, 5 of diamonds.
So you over limp with 3 of diamonds, 5 of diamonds over 2 people. Is that
Yes.
right? Is this game
I counted about 4 mistakes I made in this hand after I looked back on it.
so is this game heavily, and it's three blinds, right? So there's 3 guys in front of the button, right? Five,
No,
five,
there's
10.
just 2 blinds. Small blind, big blind, both put in $5.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread. It was 5-5. So is this game raked? There's a reason why I'm asking this. Like, is it heavily raked?
Max $10.
Because what I would say is that, obviously a rake is better than a drop, where if it's a percentage and they're taking a percent up to a certain amount, I still think 5-3 of diamonds is probably really not strong enough. It probably should just be pitched. But as I was talking about last week in my sort of moving up call, in California, you are absolutely incentivized to not really play small pots. So where this hand could be played was a place like Texas if you're playing a time game where there's no rake. This is how much of a consideration this comes in. But then when you start to get a rake and then a flat drop, like you should just be throwing away anything that's close just because you're just not incentivized to come in. Now, if you had like 5-4 of diamonds, I would probably ISO raise this over 2 limps and probably ISO raise 4-5 of diamonds. So this one's going to be, there's just not enough money in the pot for me to get involved. But okay, so you limp with 5-3 of diamonds, blinds check, right?
Yep. So there's 5 ways to the flop, 25 in the pot.
Yep.
The flop comes 5 of hearts, 5 of spades, 9 of hearts.
5 of hearts, 5 of spades, 9 of hearts. Love me, by the way, some limp pots in situations like this. So you flop weak trips, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Both blinds check. Under the or yeah, both blinds check.
Mhm.
Under the gun bets,
Okay.
25.
Okay.
Middle position folds. I call, small blind calls, and big blind folds.
So MP fold, hero calls, and small blind calls, right?
Yes.
And big blind folds. So the one thing about this that I would say is that it's 5 ways at 5-5. So this under the gun guy is betting full pot, right? Basically
Yes.
on 9-5-5 with 2 hearts. What do you think that the under the guns like betting range here is?
I don't know. It could be all over the place. He's a pretty tight player, but I mean, I'm putting him on a heart draw. Maybe an overpair where I actually been seeing this a lot where people under the gun limp and hope someone raises and nobody does.
Tom, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, that was one of the things I was going to bring up. When you see a limped pot and the person who is betting a ragged sort of board like this bets pot from under the gun, a portion of his range is high pairs that we're trying to get in limp re-raises. Now, this doesn't even necessarily have to be like super high pairs, although the nine, like if it was like deuce 5-5, like he could have sevens or eights, but here he's betting out full pot. He's not scared of the nine. Now he can have flush draws too, but I will say though, I got to be honest with you, I don't really see the point in calling here. People are like, oh, it's like, it's not deceptive to call. So, and this is specifically because it is the under the gun leading out. And I think that there's strength there. I don't think he's going to fold a flush draw. And I don't think he's folding high pairs. Now, where would I call with your hand? Maybe if the cutoff bet or something like that. You know what I mean? And you didn't want to drive out a nine. But this is a limp pot. And I think that this range is not bet folding. So I would, for the most part, raise. Even though I don't love my kicker. And then if you raise and somebody cold calls in the blinds, then you can maybe slow down a little bit and be like, whoa, something's going on here. But I don't think there's a whole lot of deception in calling here. And I don't think that someone with like jacks, queens, kings is just going to bet and then if you made it like 100, you know?
I agree with you 100%. I thought the same thing after the hand was over.
So the pot is what, 125, right?
Yeah, well, the small blind calls behind.
Right.
So now the pot's 100.
Oh, it's 100.
There's
Okay.
25 three ways on the flop,
Okay.
25 pre-flop.
Yep. 9-5-5, 2 hearts. Okay.
So the turn is a 2 of clubs.
Okay.
The small blind checks.
Mm-hmm.
Under the gun bet 65. Here I think I screw up again. I just call. The small blind raises to 265.
Okay, so I know you're saying the small blind raises 265, but let's just go over. So even though I would be raising most of the time on the flop, if I got here and the small blind had overcalled, I think I would probably actually do more calling, to be honest with you. And the reason why is because I don't want these guys to fold. And if you just wake up with a raise, it just looks stronger. I mean, I don't think raising would be bad if an overpair is going to bet call anyways, but this is like why I like to raise the flop, because I think it's actually more deceptive to fast play it in that manner. And, I mean, you're basically just gambling that like a non-heart comes, and then if he checks the river, you just blast it. So if I got here like this, I might actually do a fair amount of calling. You call, but now the small blind goes to 230. Is that what you're saying?
265.
And what does the guy from under the gun do?
He calls. And then I call.
All right. So small blind check raises to 265. Under the gun calls. Now, I'm not scared of under the gun. I think somebody who's trying to limp re-raise here with a big pair probably isn't capable of folding, which actually kind of goes back to maybe you could just raise anyways on the turn because he's not folding. He's probably not capable of folding. So, I mean, I think you have that guy beat. And I don't think he's like coming balls to the wall with like nines full. Now, when this guy check raises to 265, so 65, 130, and it looks like it's like 400, 600. It's like 700, 200 for you to call if I'm doing this right. The math is like 700, 200 for you to call. So you're getting like 3.5 to 1. I could actually get on board here with folding. Although you are in position and you're getting turn pot odds. I mean, I don't think it's terrible to call and see what goes on, but I would be, if I'm going to call here, I'm going to be prepared to let it go. I think it's probably close because of the pot odds you're getting, but I have bet folded like, or played trips passively in this way and then folded, I think, to a check raise here, because look at the strength that you're showing by betting and you calling twice on flop and on turn, and then he check raises in the small blind. Plus he got a free look at it, right? It's 5-5. So he can, and you lose to every 5. So that's kind of why I want to fold, but you called, right? So now we're probably over 1,000, right? Hero calls.
Well, no, it's,
maybe 900 or something, 850 or 900.
Yeah, 885.
885. Okay.
No, it was 246. Yeah, 785, 885. After because there's a $10 rake, so
Yeah,
yeah. 895, I think. So
right, and that's why I was saying it was like 700, 200 for you to call. That makes sense because you're getting like 3.5 to 1. We'll put it at 895. Okay, so now you're 3 ways. Again, it's 9 of hearts, 5 of spades, 5 of hearts turns the deuce of clubs. Okay.
So the river is a 6 of hearts, so it brings in the front door flush.
6 of hearts. Oh wow. Okay. I mean, that's partially in the under the guns range for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
So they both checked to me.
Wow.
And we've played together for like a long time. And I know neither one of these guys is checking a full house or a flush. At least that's what I'm thinking.
So yeah,
But they're
the under
not
the
like at this point, you might as well just bet. They're going to do that.
so the under the gun guy probably does have an overpair because you think he would bet a flush, and I tend to agree with you, right? Because that was his range of betting and then calling the check raise, flush draws, and you know, overpairs, right? So it seems to me like the small blind might not like this card either because he has a five, right?
That's what I thought.
So here's the problem though. Well, I mean, I think you can get through the under the gun, but you don't need to get through the under the gun, right? Because you're beating jacks or queens. So are you asking me if you should turn your hand into a bluff here?
Well, that's what I did. But I think I should have probably just checked it back.
So this is just coming down to are these guys capable of, is the small blind capable of folding trips when the heart gets there? That's the question, right?
Yep. I have 755 left and there's 885 in the pot.
So, well, if I wanted to bluff, then I would probably rip it all in here. If I'm trying to get a five to fold, I just don't know the level here of these players, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just some guys that are just never going to fold trips. And then I think that occasionally you actually might run into something where somebody might be sandbagging something. There's a non-zero chance of that. I wouldn't entirely dismiss it. Like somehow, like say the guy raised with like 5-6 on the turn, the small blind. And he's like, oh, I made a full house. I'm going to get tricky because the heart came in. So there's a sliver of that too. I'm just trying to figure out. I think I might just check this one back and just hope the small blind was doing some bullshit here. Because I don't know if I'm going to get these guys off of a 5 here at this level. So, yeah, I mean, what did you do?
I ripped it in.
So you ripped it in for 795?
Yep, 755.
755. So hero 755 all in. Again, it's 955 deuce 6. Well, I mean, at least, at least you were, I'll give you credit for thinking about it because a lot of people wouldn't even be thinking about turning trips into a bluff here,
Well, it didn't work out because the small blind called and the under the gun folded.
Yeah, that's going to be you can't have the best hand here if the small blind calls.
No, he had 10-5 of clubs.
That's what we were scared of, Tom.
And the under the gun had kings.
That's what we were scared of. Makes a whole lot of sense. Did the under the gun tank fold, or did he fold pretty quickly?
No, he instantly folded, and he told us he had kings. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting because he calls the check raise, right? Which means that you probably could have gotten away with a raise on the turn actually, and he would have called. Although if you raised the turn, then the small blind would have called, and I wonder if can you imagine if he bets out? So he bets the flop on 955 with kings, right? Call. He bets the turn. You raise, and then the small blind calls. He should just fold there. I don't know if he would, but
he probably would have folded, and then we would have probably went check on the river. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I shove on the river there, maybe then it looks better.
No.
I don't know.
So if you raise the turn and the small blind calls, and then the other guy folds, yeah, you just have to check the river, I think. Because the small blind's either going to have hearts or a 5. I mean, once in a great while, maybe you chop. Although you only chop to 5-4 and 5-3, it looks like. But yeah, well, I mean, it's creative. It really, really boils down to whether or not we think that guy can fold. But I appreciate it, Tom, with the cool last name. Thank you very much.